we as an organization, right, evolved over a time. So we were more of domain centric. That has been the DNA of us, and we always stay focused in one area, which is regulatory, and then within the regulatory value chain, how do we ensure we spread across multiple product categories, multiple regions, multiple countries, and how do we navigate beyond say various functions. That's been our forte always, right? With that said, so from a GCC context, very similar for us as well as a service provider also, right? We coexist, I would say, right? So the opportunities for us, the need for us to build capability came in many ways. When these are all some of them, right? And we evolved also. The need did not remain constant, it changed as well, right? So the first being the more of a functional based, I would say, as an offshoring or a capability building, right? That has been the focus maybe several years back, maybe a decade back or 15-20 years back, right? So how do we ensure if we have a function, it can be say for example, it can be a publishing as a function, it can be a reg phase as a function, or it can be a labeling and artwork as a function. How do we build expertise and capability around that? That has been the focus maybe several years back. And how do we efficiently deliver that function, right? That has been the focus. And then more of the KPIs and all the SLAs were around that. How do we manage that function in a very efficient manner, right? And because of that, when we brought these, built the capability, right, we looked at many parameters, obviously, but two things very importantly stood out at that time is more of how complex is the function which I am transitioning to a capability center, right? And second, in terms of cost, do I have a real cost saving? I have to prove an ROI, which is definitely a mandate, right? These two stood out, but there were other things which we will little talk about it later as well. But based on that, if we really look at it, say for example, just as an artwork as a function, right, being done by capability centers and say services companies for maybe more than 50 years, right? PV has been like almost more than 25 years or so, and publishing evolved like that. The maturity of the functions which we can bring in, build capability at the capability centers, matured over a time, function by function. That's what this, on a high level, the Z curve talks about it as well. But we will also talk about, is this the reality in terms of the cost saving that we could deliver for these functions? Did it remain the same when we created them versus now as well, right? So that's the one aspect of. And then the second need was more of project based. When I say project based, more of an event driven. It can be a, say, health authority event, like say nitrosamine purity, a regulation that impacted multiple products and things like that. That regulation drove us an event which is very specific in terms of sudden surge in volume, but still we need to build a capability for it, right? And it can be mergers and acquisition scenarios as well, or we are harmonizing a certain sites and things like that. These are more of project based, for which we have to build capability and capacity more as a short term and then evolve over time, right? But from here, we moved into the next part. It is more of product based. Product based is all about how do I maintain a product end to end. Do not hold responsibility of one function or a one event that arises beyond it, how do I own it end to end? How, instead of me looking at more siloed in terms of each and every function, instead of looking at my say KPIs and parameters which I measure the performance as more of a siloed as a function, can I look at as a business impact? What am I doing to the business? How am I accelerating my submission? How am I helping to get the approval, say, faster? How am I, say, even it can be a matured products that we maintain, but the way we did maybe 10 years back versus now, can we do it much more efficient? Can we do it faster so that the submissions can be done in a much more robust way, right? That's the third aspect. And then we also, while we built this product-based capability, right, we started more on those matured products, and more of generics also has been a capability we could build in GCCs and service centers. And then slowly now the need is moving towards how can we help in bringing in, say, a capability around the vaccines, biologics, orphan drug products. Can we build capability towards that? That has been the need. And the other aspect is in terms of than looking at only mature product and maintenance and life cycle management. Can we look at initial submissions? Can I help in getting an approval in the initial submissions while matured products can be done in an efficient manner? That's also another scenario. And then early development products as well. Next shift what we are seeing is market-based. We did a lot of, maybe we will bucketize this central regulatory affairs a lot. But right now the need for the capability centers to build is, can I help in local regulatory affairs? Can I help in localized services? Can that be, may not be say centralized, but can we look at portions of those activity to be centralized, regionalized, and there are portions which may have to stay in local for the lack of word, maybe the efficiency aspect, let them stay there. But there can be n number of activities which can be moved to the GCCs as well. So that's also another need. So product based is evolving, market based is evolving, but for us to cater to this need, right, what is important is maybe having knowledge across markets and countries. Maybe as say the GCCs and the capabilities what we have, we would have a lot of capability around, say, US, EU, UK a lot. But do we have capability around those Middle East markets, Latin American markets? Can we deliver those local regulatory affairs services to those markets? We can call it as an ROW market, MOW market, or rare market. That's one aspect. And then from a product perspective, can we help in rare products as well? Like some of the orphan drug products, can we help and support in accelerating that as well? That's been the need. And while we always have some kind of complexity around markets like Japan, China, Korea, has been a puzzle still not been solved. A lot of local activity is still exists, right? So that's the whole idea. So the shift is from more of a function based and a project based to the need is coming towards a product based and the market based. For us to be success here, right, maybe the way we work has to change, right? And the way we work has to evolve. Then I say change, right? More of the current approach is more of an offshoring, siloed functions. I highlighted many of these, right? But what is important for us to operate in the future way of working, next gen capability that we need to build is data and digital play a lot of role.